So excited to do this piece. So I'm working on a number of paintings that will become a set of oracle cards, and I'm launching potentially 2 different packs. I'm just going to see how it's going. But the second pack is very much around sort of elemental, earth, air, fire, water, and spirit, and there's going to be different characters in there as well. So kind of like a mixture between oracle cards and tarot. So I'm treating myself today because I've been working on a number of projects. So I want to do a little passion project. I'll just swivel the camera around so you can see what I'm doing. So, not this piece. This piece is another experimental piece that I'm working on. It's quite nice with a wintry solstice tree. And then on this gold part here, I'm going to paint either a raven or a magpie. So just pop that one down out the way for now. So the piece that I'm working on, move the camera a bit closer actually. Excuse the wiggling. Let's see if I can get that there. That's much better into frame. So this is the piece that I'm going to be working on today, and it's going to have a black cat with a candle and a magical book here, and then a crescent moon against a gothic window. So what I'm going to do to start with is work on the eyes, because you should, yes, fill like the space, but to me, that the character of the animal comes from the eyes. So that's where I like to start. So if I get the eyes right, then I feel that I've matched up the key elements of the process. So the first thing I'm going to do is just select a nice brush to use. This is nice and thin. And I'm going to mix up the eye colour. So I'm using a bit of cadmium yellow and then a small amount of yellow ochre. And then some white, and then just dipping in with some linseed oil. Just need a bit more yellow. And then start to go in with the darker yellow ochre colour. The first stage of the eyes is always quite flat, and then you build up the oil in layers. So it's very much about just getting the basic shape right. So straight away already, just that little bit of paint, and it starts to come to life. That's why I like to start with the eyes, because the eyes are the windows to the soul, and this particular painting is going to be part of my Spirit Guardian animal collection. If you'd like to know more about that and when it's going to launch, which I plan for early next year, then do like and subscribe below. Everyone does that, don't they, when they say like and subscribe? I'm guessing it's somewhere below. Just looking at some of the comments. Hey, Alejandra, hello, nice to meet you. Hello, nice to see you. I've not yet worked out how to get a camera set up so I can show the painting of me, but I'm sure at some point that will become apparent. I don't have any expensive gear, just a phone and a paintbrush. Oh, see, just the very first layer and already the animal starts to come to life. Just that one little bit of layer. And as I build up the eyes and layer, it'll become even more realistic. So to make some of these layers now, I'm just going to dab in a bit of blue into the yellow to grey it off a bit. Just to make a slightly darker grey. I might actually want this to be more brown than grey, but we'll try it and see. Yeah, I think I'm going to want that to be more brown. Okay, so whilst I've got this colour on my brush, I'm going to mark in the candle and the moon, because these three elements are unifying themes in the artwork. So I'm starting off with some yellow and white. And just painting in a nice moon colour. Just adding a touch of yellow here, just because I want it to be a little bit gold. Oh, that's nice. The whole theme of the painting is going to be quite a warm feeling. So I want the moon to be gold as opposed to like a bright white. Hopefully you can see this all okay. They're starting to come together now. Sorry about not being able to talk loads during painting. I find it quite difficult to concentrate, especially when I'm doing a piece of detail. So I made the shape of this moon using the lid, this lid here, of my little oil pot, and I just drew around it by placing it on there like that. And then to get the crescent shape, I just moved it slightly and drew around again. So you get the round circle and then the crescent shape, a bit like the way that an eclipse would work. So I'm happy with that as the moon shape. Just going to add in just a dab of colour there. And now I want to put the candle in. As the first stage, like that. Now I'm changing brushes to a slightly smaller one that's got a bit more control over it. And I'm just taking some white paint and just painting in the candle shape. So these will be guidelines, and over time I will add to the layers. But I like to make sure that I'm happy with the composition and the atmosphere, the feel of the piece before I sort of get to work on all of the background. Because you kind of have to like fall in love with the piece, I think. It's like the initial taster of whether I'll like how it's all going to work out. I think I'm going to make this a bit longer actually. Because originally I'd got the candle holder ending there, but I think I want to make it a bit shorter. To about there, so maybe there will be where the candle holder begins to start. Right, do I like that? Yes. Okay, I think I'm happy with the structure of that. I'm happy with the composition. So now I can start painting in the background. So I want to work on the book first. So I work inside out, so I'm not getting in my own way. And I'm going to take a nice clean brush. This one will do. And I want to mix up just a generic parchmenty colour. That's pretty good parchment colour from the off. This is just about getting the shapes in to start with. So dipping into some linseed oil, mixing up my parchment colour using yellow ochre and a bit of yellow, a bit of cadmium yellow, and just painting around the shape of the cat's paws as it leans on the book. So this is very kind of Harry Pottery feel to it. So at the minute with everything that I'm painting, I'm not too concerned about getting detail in. This is just about making sure that I've got the shapes laid down nicely. because you can still see my pencil guidelines there underneath. And the thing with oil painting is it's about building up the layers gradually. So you start with almost like a translucent wash. And you're setting the tone of the painting. So the setting the sort of the warmth and the heat feeling that's going with the painting. So that composition's working nicely. Now I need to think about the sky, and I think I want a navy blue midnight sky to go behind that. And luckily I have got a perfect colour already mixed from a previous painting. Just going to try that and see. Oh, look at that. What a gorgeous colour that is. That is amazing. So I'm just painting in the blocks. And it doesn't matter that I'm leaving these gaps here because I'm going to go over those with the picture frame. So where the moon will be, it'll be dark, and then as it comes down to the closer to the horizon, it gets a little bit lighter. And to make it lighter, I'm just adding a dash of white. Now I want to make it darker as we get further up towards the moon. So to make it darker, I'm using a bit of black and adding that to my bluey colour. It's all about using the brush. So it's starting to come together. I think I want that bit just a bit darker. So I'm just going to add some black at the top there. Can always add more at a later date. And then putting in the edges of the walls. Adding more linseed oil. So what I'm looking for here is where the candle flame actually, the centre of it, because that's where the light is going to start to appear. So I'll mix a slightly lighter colour to go into this section here. And then go lighter still. I want a bit of yellow in there. And as I get closer to the candle, it gets a bit lighter. And then I'll blend that. And with that same colour, I'm going to make the wall just a bit lighter. Adding a bit more brown and yellow. Now you'll see why, when I eventually finish this, why I'm making it by the window just slightly lighter. because I'll be painting some bricks or sort of stones around the outside of the window. So the stones will be visible here, and you can do it one of two ways. You can have the stones lighter or the stones darker, and I just think they look better lighter because they're capturing the light of the moon coming out that way. So to make the stones lighter, you have to add in the lightness by the window first. So I'm just taking white and I'm painting it down vertically, and it's picking up the colours I've laid underneath. And the same on that side. Again, not too worried at the minute about accuracy, because that will all come a bit later on. There. Now, the next phase is to blend. So as you can see, I've laid the paint on quite rough and quite thick, and now I want to actually blend all of this in together. So just get a cloth, dry my brush, and then I'm just gently, almost flicking, just lightly touching, because the idea is that I want to blend the colours together. Okay, and now the same with the wall. So just pulling the colours into themselves a little bit, like that. Drying off the brush in between. And then just blend. And you can see the difference between the blended side and the non-blended side. we go, so that's phase one of the window. Now I'm going to add in the table. So I just want a sort of a generic wooden colour, I don't know if that makes sense. A bit more yellow and a bit more brown. Let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, something like that is about good. So at the front it's going to be lighter. So I'm going to want plenty of white at the front, and it's going to be lighter around where the candle is shining its light as well. Now, it doesn't matter that I've got the other colour paint that I was using for the walls and the sky, because it knits in the painting because you're using the same colours. Just going down to my guideline there. That's a nice wooden colour actually. It's a happy accident. This will be dark. So I'm just throwing in some nice woody colours, using plenty of oil. Now I will have to go over this candle, the candle stand. Just to make sure I've got the table in the right place, like it needs to be level. So I'm just going over the cat slightly to make sure that I'm coming out the other side of the table and it's level. I think that looks level enough. Then I can go a bit more wild and get my colour down. So remember, these are just base layers, and they're there to give the painting, so I shouldn't have done that there, just take that bit out. They're there to give the painting the structure. That's the next phase, starting to come together now. Just saying hi to everybody. Nien Coven Hofwegen, hope I've said that correctly. Hi to you. Now the next phase is to make this more like a table. I'm just going to use this brush and drag this along like that, because that gives me a level table and the direction of the grain to start with. So I will have to go over this, but it puts the shapes in nicely. I think we need to work around the back of the cat now. So again, just going to go in with my greyy kind of wall colour. Okay, and just blend that in. And then put in the dark part at the bottom. So this is pretty much a nice dark bottom part I can get. So I'm going to use plenty of oil, plenty of colour, and really lay that on nice and thick. Hope you didn't hear my stomach grumble then. I think it might be time for lunch. So this is going to be one of the oracle cards, and I'll come up with the right name for it when I get there eventually, and also with the right meaning. And then just blend that in. There's a cat hair there. Makes it more realistic. Then just blend the interface there. Just to make sure there's no hard lines. And then the last layer that I want to show you today, be careful how I pick this up now. The last layer that I want to show you today is applying the black to the cat. So for that black cat, I need a different brush and some nice dark paint. Actually, before I do that, I'm just going to go around there and just fill in that white space with oil. And this is important because when I paint the fur is going to be blended wet into the oil. And it needs some oil to move into this way. Same on that side. Let's just give that a quick blend. Okay, so back to the painting. Nearly there. So like I say, this is just about getting the initial shapes of the composition in place. And then get a fresh cloth. And then we just need to blend, just make sure that there's no hard edges. And what this does is it's using the bristles of the brush to pull out the fur texture. It looks really soft now. Okay, just show you that bit. You can see the fur texture starting to come on the cat now. And now I'm just going to put the shapes of the ears in, and then I'll probably leave that to dry and then come back to it once it's dry. So I just need a different brush. And get some black paint on the brush. And there's one ear shape. Let's add a bit more black. And then the same on the other side. Like that. And then just going to go around the eyes. Just to even up the shape. That's better. That is better. now I can probably add some highlights to the fur. So I think I'll leave it there for now. So thank you very much for watching and staying with me for what was quite a long session, nearly an hour. You can see why things take so long to build up a collection. Thank you to everyone that's watched. I'll have to read back in the comments and translate some of them, because there's a few there that I've not translated before yet. So this will be finished probably in a couple of weeks. I might work on it over Christmas, but it now needs to dry. And then I can start to really go in on the detail, which is the exciting bit. So thank you very much for watching, and do subscribe so that you can see me finish the piece if you're interested, and have a great day. Bye for now.